Hello, welcome to the Everything is Black and White podcast. Hope you guys are doing well. Andrew Musgrove here. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. We're going to talk about transfers today. Transfer market is open, but it's a little bit quiet, isn't it, at the moment for Newcastle United, but most of the Premier League as well. There's a feeling not much money at all will be spent this month, and with Newcastle, they've really got to deal with the constraints of FFP. So it's looking likely that a loan deal will be the only thing happening this January. It's looking likely that it'll be Calvin Phillips, if anyone, to come in to fill that gap in the midfield. And it made yesterday's reports about Dominic Solanke all a little bit stranger, really, especially given he'll probably cost you the best part of £50 million, which this month you just cannot see Newcastle United spending unless something miraculously happens on the financial books. It's just not going to happen, is it? Bournemouth have denied any approach, and Newcastle have remained tight-lipped. Now, the report of Solanke to Newcastle United has split opinion. It's fair to say that the majority of people have come out against this move. They're not a fan of it. I don't blame the majority of people, to be fair, for thinking that way. 22 goals he scored in 118 Premier League appearances. It's not a good record at all. He's in great form this season, but it's his first season of finding his feet in the Premier League, and he's been playing in there quite a while, 26 years of age. For £50 million, if that would be the price tag, what are you actually getting? You're certainly not getting one of Europe's top marksmen at all, and I think there are better players out there at his level who would be cheaper and fit Newcastle United system much better. Of course, it's always good to have a plan B, a different kind of striker to play, but in terms of Dominic Solanke, not for me at all. I think it would be a massive gamble for Newcastle United to spend that much money on a player who's just had his best season in the Premier League. If this was a striker coming in who has scored 10 plus goals in 3, 4, 5 seasons, then okay, you're not turning your nose up too much at £50 million for him, because at 26 he's got these best years ahead of him. But half a good season, because the rest of the season isn't over yet. He could drop out of form. Not for me at all. You do say, as I always say, that you trust the judgment of the transfer team at Newcastle, because they've got very little wrong. They would have done their homework. Eddie Howe knows the player. He signed him at Bournemouth, and I remember at the time actually writing an article questioning Newcastle's ambition, not necessarily because of Solanke, but because of Bournemouth spending 20 odd million on a striker when Newcastle were dilly-dallying in the low market or freeze. They're not signing anyone at all. That was under Mike Ashley, of course. Times have changed, but despite the owners' wealth, they are stuck by financial fair play, and you just can't see any big signs happening this January at all, despite the need for it. If we were talking about Newcastle signing someone of Solanke's level, who I think is an average Premier League striker at best, as his stats prove that, I think there are better people out there who are cheaper and fit the system better than Solanke does. You'd have to change your whole system to play Solanke, I think, and £50 million, it's not like you would just be playing him on the bench and bringing him off with it, is it? So there are other players out there, and the name I'm going to give you, and I'll probably get a bit of pelters for it though, is Hwang Hee-chan from Wolves. Now, he's 27. He would definitely cost probably half that £50 million that Solanke is reportedly going to cost any potential suitors. And he's also scored 18 goals in 77 games for Wolves, so his record is better than Solanke, and he fits the system better. He's a runner. He could do the high press that Newcastle United have been built upon. Whether Newcastle change their system next season remains to be seen, but he would fit that team, I think, so much better. You probably wouldn't come in expecting to be first choice. You could bring him off the bench with a bit of energy, a bit of legs. He's hit 10 goals this season. I can hear people saying, well, he's only just found his form in the Premier League. I grant you that as well. He hasn't had a prolific time in the Premier League. This is his first time he's hit double figures, but I think he would be so much better option. He probably would only cost you £15-20 million at most. Save yourself a bit of money, bring in a player who knows he's not going to be first choice but can still do a job, and is, I think, arguably better than Dominic Solanke. And I think the realisation here for Newcastle United is that they're building a squad. They may have got Champions League football, but they're not going to be able to attract the world's best players at this point in their project. They got Champions League football ahead of time, and they don't look like they're going to get Champions League football again for next season, which is probably going to impact things in the summer. And I think there has to be an acceptance that Newcastle have to build a squad, and it won't necessarily be with players who are going to sell shirts, who are going to get fans off their seats when they hear the name. But that's when Newcastle United are. You're not going to get the best players in the world, unfortunately. You're going to get that in 2, 3, 4 years. But to get there, you have to lay down the foundations, and you have to go out and buy players who are hard workers and can supplement the talented players that they've got, like Bruno, like Isak. And look, I can understand, like I said at the start of the video, why people turn their nose up at Solanke, but he's, you know, in the bracket of building a squad to get to where you want to be in 2, 3 years time. That's when Newcastle United are, you know, the best players in the world are going to end up going to Man City. You're going to go to Liverpool. They're going to end up going to the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona. Of course you want players like that coming to Newcastle United, but we have to be honest and say that's not going to happen at this point in the project. So signing players like Huang, like you know, maybe someone like Philip Billing from Bournemouth, and I get people listening and watching will be like, what are you saying, what are you suggesting? This is not who Newcastle United should be signing. But I just think there needs to be a little bit of realisation of what Newcastle United need to do to get to where they want to be, where you will sign the world's best players. But yet, Dominic Solanke, not for me. I would prefer, as I said, the chap from Wolves. I think he would be a better fit for Newcastle United. But the point being is that I honestly can't see anyone else other than maybe Calvin Phillips coming in on loan. As much as I would like Huang, as much as I would like a striker of any quality to come in, because Newcastle United need a new striker. Given Callum Wilson's horrible luck with injuries, I can only really see, in my view, a loan deal coming in, and that probably will be Calvin Phillips. People know my view on Calvin Phillips, not a massive fan of that idea, but again, you trust those at the club making the decision. They would have done their homework, done their research. But this is what Newcastle United are dealing with. Financial fair play really hitting them hard. They've got to be sensible. They've seen what's happened to Everton, what may come down the line for Chelsea and Manchester City, so they don't want to get stung by that in the years to come. So they're going to play it by the book. They're going to play it sensibly. I don't think it's going to be a busy transfer market at all for Newcastle United, despite the need for 2, 3, 4 probably additions in an ideal world. But this isn't an ideal world. This is a world hit by financial fair play. Horrible January transfer window, the January transfer tax, the Saudi Arabian tax that is placed on Newcastle United. I hate the January transfer window, in truth. We'll wait and see what happens. But as I said, let me know in the comments, Solanke, not for me. Let me know what you think about my suggestion of Huang as well. Would you take him at Newcastle United over the next 2 to 3 years, just to offer something a little bit different, to offer another option up top? Let me know in the comments. Hit subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and we'll catch you soon.